The road to the CONCACAF Champions Cup final leads through Monterrey tonight. And for Nashville, it leads into one of the loudest, hottest and most unforgiving football atmospheres anywhere on the continent. Inside El Volcán, with more than 40,000 Tigres supporters packed tightly into the steep stands around us, Nashville arrive knowing the task is clear but difficult. They trail 1-0 from the first leg in Tennessee. They're away from home, and because of the away goals rule, they know that even a one-goal victory tonight would only be enough to force extra time. And yet, if this tournament has shown us anything about this Nashville side, it's that they are very comfortable upsetting expectations away from home. A very good evening from Estadio Universitario in San Nicolás de los Garza, just outside Monterrey, where tonight Tigres and Nashville meet for a place in the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. I'm Charlie, delighted to have your company wherever you're listening around the world for this second leg semi-final. There's something about knockout football in this competition that tends to magnify everything. The noise feels louder, the spaces feel tighter. Every mistake suddenly carries enormous weight. And Nashville come into this one knowing they probably cannot afford many. And as they walk out of the tunnel in this iconic, compact but vociferous stadium, they are greeted by a sea of yellow, orange and blue, with a fantastic fan tifo display from the Tigres fans, just ramping up the atmosphere a little bit more. The first leg last week in Tennessee was tight, tense and occasionally scrappy, but ultimately decided by one moment of quality. Angel Correa, World Cup winner with Argentina, former Atletico Madrid forward and one of the biggest names in this entire competition, drifted into space around 25 yards out and sent a world-class strike beyond Brian Schwarker midway through the first half. That goal has changed the complexion of the tie completely, because Tigres now not only hold the aggregate lead, they also carry the away goal back to Mexico with them. So Nashville's challenge tonight is layered. They will have to attack at some stage. They almost certainly have to score more than once if Tigres find the net themselves. But they also cannot afford to lose their defensive structure too early against a Tigres side packed with technical quality and tournament experience. And that balance is probably the biggest talking point coming into the night. Nashville's defensive record in this tournament has been nothing short of exceptional. No side left in the competition has conceded fewer goals. They've already gone into difficult away environments and produced mature, disciplined performances. The win over Club America at the Estadio Banorte, formerly known as the Azteca, earlier in the competition, remains one of the standout results by an MLS side in recent years. They are the first MLS team to go to that stadium and win. It's also worth remembering they also travelled to Inter Miami. They, in the pink with the Lionel Messi, they needed a result, and they managed the occasion there too. But this is the first time in this tournament that Nashville have gone into a second leg away from home, already behind. That changes the psychology of the night significantly. Tigres can manage the tempo. They can slow things down when they want to. They can force Nashville to chase. And with the crowd behind them here at El Volcán, they'll fear this tie is theirs to control. The atmosphere has been building steadily for the last hour or so, but really it's been the entirety of the day. Huge flags away behind the goal to our left. Drums rolling constantly from the Tigres supporters section. Home fans know how important this competition is to the club. They've not won this since 2020, but it remains central to their identity. They expect to compete for continental honours, and they'll believe they're in a strong position tonight. They also come into the game in excellent form domestically, 3 wins in the last 5, only 3 goals conceded in that stretch, and they followed up the first leg win in Nashville by beating Chivas 3-1 in the weekend in Liga MX playoff action. Key men are obvious. Juan Brunetta has been outstanding all season creatively, and from midfield there is Fernando Goriran, controls rhythm and tempo. Correa brings elite level experience and unpredictability in the final third. And then there's the veteran presence of Nahuel Guzman in goal, a player who absolutely embraces nights like this. For Nashville, meanwhile, the story of the season under BJ Callaghan has really been about growth. It's a team that still carries the defensive resilience associated with older Nashville teams, but there's much more flexibility and ambition. They currently sit top of the MLS Eastern Conference, third overall in the Supporters' Shield standings, and they've travelled here believing they can still turn this around. The challenge, though, is doing it without some very important players. So with kickoff just a couple of moments away, let's run you through the team news tonight from Monterrey. Tigres line up in a 4-2-3-1. Guzman starts in goal. Across the back it's Jesus Garza, Romulo, Francisco Reyes and Jesus Angelo. Cesar Araujo and Fernando Goriran sit in midfield, with the three ahead of them made up of Angel Correa, Juan Brunetta and Marcelo Flores. Rodrigo Aguirre leads the line on his own tonight. Unavailable for Tigres this evening are Jonathan Oziel Herrera and defender Joaquin, both through injury. Nashville have had to make a late change to their name at starting 11 as Patrick Yazbek pulled up at the end of the warm-up. They also go with a back four in what was initially like a 4-4-2 shape. Byron Schwarke, as we mentioned, who was beaten in the first leg by that world-class strike, starts in goal. After an impressive first leg performance despite the defeat, the defence is Andy Nayar, Jason Palacios, Maxwell Valedzi and Reed Baker-Whiting. Across midfield, Christian Espinoza, Matthew Kokoran and Alex Moyle. And the man stepping into the shoes of Patrick Yazbek. In comes the Honduran Brian Acosta, who will slot into the heart of that midfield. Up front, Hani Mukhtar is partnered by Warren Madrigal. No Sam Surridge, no Edvard Tagzeth, who do not travel. Surridge's absence is huge. He's their leading scorer this season, while Tagzeth's energy and control in midfield are also badly missed. Isaiah LaFleur and Christopher Applewhite are also unavailable through injury. So we're underway. One of the biggest nights in Nashville SC's history. 90 minutes, potentially more, standing between these two clubs and a place in the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. Tigres have the lead on aggregate, the away goal, and one of the most intimidating home atmospheres anywhere in this part of the world. Nashville, meanwhile, arrived knowing the equation simple enough, even if the task itself is far from it. They have to score tonight, preferably early enough to make Tigres think, to make this crowd nervous, and to change the rhythm of the tie. If they can do that, then suddenly all the pressure swings back their other way. It's Tigres in their home kit, a golden rod yellow, blue accents. Nashville in navy and yellow. It's Tigres kicking off, playing from left to right, Nashville from right to left, and the ball is on the left-hand side here for Brunetta. He will switch it out to the right flank. Getting forward is Garza. Now here's Correa, scorer of the spectacular goal last week. And now back for Romulo. Angel Correa will have been keenly aware of what happened earlier on today. Atletico Madrid missed out on a Champions League final place. The expense of Arsenal. There's a strike from Correa. It was firmly hit, but in the way was Palacios. It's a physical pairing in the heart of that Nashville defence, with Valedzi in towards the near post. Was there a little flick on the way through? It's out of play, it's out of the penalty area. The Tigres players on that far side, including the captain Goriran, immediately tried to draw the referee's attention to it. And it took a little while, but they will have the free kick they were looking for there, Tigres. There was a suspicion that maybe that one was inside the penalty area, but it'll just be a well-placed free kick, we might add. That section to our left, the Tigres ultras is absolutely bouncing already. They love their football in this part of the world. And tonight is a massive occasion. Tigres and Monterrey aren't just big clubs, they dominate conversation here constantly. You heard it in the city in the build-up to this game. Brunetter's ball towards the back post, a little bit too high. It was all the way through without a play for a goal kick. This is one of the wealthiest industrial regions in Mexico. Both Monterrey and Tigres have been able to spend heavily for years. That's why Tigres can attract the likes of Gignac, who's looking to win this for another time. The ripe old age of 40, André Pierre Gignac. And Correa, a man with considerable Champions League experience. There's genuine financial power, not just behind Tigres, but the two clubs in this region. They've been superb in Liga MX action, have Tigres at UANL. It's Guzman Olympic tonight, the Argentine goalkeeper, 40 years old. The Tigres stopper. A little bit of pressure applied there. Oh, Mukhtar. It's a nice turn by Correa in midfield. Now here come Tigres, early ball into the penalty area. And it's stabbed out of play by Vology. Schwarke appreciates his centre-back's defensive work. First corner kick of the evening will be an outswinger taken by Brunetta in towards the near post, and that's a bit of a miscue from Baker Whiting. Another corner. So one, Brunetta again. And that one, that's a total miscue. So straight up in the air and out of play from the Argentine. Another number represented in the squad tonight alongside Correa in the starting 11. Schwarke playing out from the back. Vology is down the left-hand side. Madrigal does well to shepherd that out of play in front of his man with a touch on it from a Tigres player. He's just 21 years old, the Costa Rican Warren Madrigal. One ball down the right-hand side. Nahar gets to the byline. Little cut back to Corcoran. Finds Mukhtar, back to goal. Now finds a shooting opportunity. It's off of Corcoran's heels. Hit his own man there, did Mukhtar. Encouraging though from Nashville in the opening 10 minutes here. Baker Whiting. Another of Nashville's young contingent alongside Corcoran and Madrigal. Schwarke himself is only 24, the goalkeeper. It's Palacios into midfield. Corcoran lays it off. Finds Nayar. Here's Mukhtar battling for possession with Correa. He's the man who's delivered so many of their big moments over the last 10 years or so in this short history of Nashville SC. You could see in the first leg just how frustrated he was with his sides performance levels. I know they're much better than they showed back in Tennessee. And that's out of play from Palacios. A little bit too much on it, the pass towards Baker Whiting. So Tigres with the pressure, with the throw in as well. Jesus Garza back in the starting 11 after his suspension the first day. That's a lovely ball between the lines just outside the penalty area. Brunetta just took a little bit too much time getting the ball out of his feet. It's a good sliding challenge by Reyes to win it back, but Nashville pick it off on the edge of their own penalty area. Here's Nahar and tries to loft it forward. Looking more in hope to get it away than really find Madrigal. Here's Goriaran again. Gives it to Correa. That says Araujo in midfield. Joined the club back in February, Araujo. Played in the Champions Cup against them a few years ago for Orlando. A man with MLS experience, he'll be well versed in Nashville's ways. There's Wallagy, does really well to win it back, and now that's forward for Espinosa. A shot from range. I think he got a little bit overexcited there, had options getting forward, including Wallagy, who kept his run going all the way from the back. Also had Madrigal and Mukhtar well placed towards the right-hand side of the penalty area. Three of them, though, really made the same run, and you can understand potentially why Espinosa decided to take it on himself. 10 minutes gone, still goalless between Tigres and Nashville. If you are tuning in a little bit late wherever you are, thank you for joining us. If that's from somewhere in North America or Central America, good evening. Elsewhere in the world, well done you. It's a late one or an early one, whichever way you look at it. For those of you in Europe, you've done particularly well here in the early hours. Hopefully we've got a fascinating game to bring you tonight. And that's a lovely little juggle from Angel Correa, just to lift it over the on-rushing defender and find a bit of space for Brunetta here on the left-hand side. Now to advance, but Nashville have got bodies back. So here's Araujo. No, Romulo. Angulo. Reyes. Romulo. Back to Guzman. 500 appearances for Tigres. It's a warm evening tonight. 32 degrees Celsius pitch side, well into the 90s. From a more recognisable Fahrenheit perspective to those fans of MLS sides, it's a sticky one as well, so the conditions will be difficult to manage. One thing Nashville won't have to contend with, that they did against Club America, is the altitude. 7,000 feet above sea level over in the Mexican capital. A little bit more than 1,300 here in Monterrey. There's a problem here. Looks like Goriaran was just wandered across to the sidelines, and I think he's going to be replaced, actually. Just feeling the top of his left knee. He's a massive figure for them. He's going to pass the captain's armband over to Brunetta. And yeah, there is confirmation that they are about to make the change here, Tigres. That's not what I want to see. There might be a problem for Nahuel Guzman as well, the goalkeeper. We're hearing reports from down on the touchline that they are going to have to take Gorriarán off. A new fee for him. These are the big moments, the nights that you play for. And off goes the Uruguayan Gorriarán to be replaced by Juan Pablo Vigón. Probably a big boost to BJ Callahan's team. Gorriarán with such an important role in this team. And the Tigres captain goes off. It's this time of year, isn't it, where the injuries just start to pile up. Even a little nicks, tugs and pulls from across the season. Eventually they start to accumulate, you feel your muscles go, and after a long season it can be really difficult to see out to 90 minutes. Vigón is on for his 199th Tigres appearance. The former Pumas and Atlas midfielder. Question as well is who will one of these two sides be meeting in the final. LAFC with a 2-1 lead over Toluca. That one's same time tomorrow. Tigres win it back inside the national half of the pitch, and it's got Brunetta now, the stand-in captain. Finds Angulo on the left-hand side. In fact, it's Flores. Flores stepping onto his right, twisting, turning, looking for a chance to play the cutback. Palacios is across to help, and he'll win the goal kick. It just took a little bit too much time with it. Jesus Angulo on the left-hand side, and the Canadian Marcelo Flores as well. He's an exciting young player, 22 years old. Just made the wrong decision there. That'll come with more experience. It's a little bit naive. There's a decision to keep trying to take on the national defenders. Palacios gives it away. Aguirre, quick turn and strike, but he drags it wide. I think he probably had a bit more time and space than he realised. The veteran Uruguayan. Well, Nashville like to play out of the back whenever they have the ball in their own defensive third from a set piece. They'll do it again here, and that's what put them in a bit of a sticky patch. It was straight against Brunetta, who found Aguirre. I think he was expecting that the national defender would be much tighter to him, and he wasn't. Reyes. He's the Brazilian Romulo. It's Reyes. Brunetta. Big switch of play out to the right hand side. Taken down by Garza. Angulo. Back to Guzman. Time for Angulo on that far side. Into midfield for the new man, Vigon. Just back to his feet, Juan Vigon. Mario Escobar, the referee tonight. There's a full complement of officials, including VAR as well. Tigres do have the veteran Frenchman André-Pierre Gignac on the bench, as we already mentioned. You can make a pretty strong argument that no foreign player has changed the modern perception of Liga MX more than Gignac. When he arrived from Marseille now 11 years ago, there was genuine surprise in Europe that a French international in his prime would choose Mexico. But what followed has completely transformed Tigres culturally, became the face of the club, leading scorer in their history, won league titles, scored the winner in the 2020 Champions League final against LAFC, and almost single-handedly dragged Tigres to the Club World Cup final a few months later with goals against Ulsan Hyundai and Palmeiras. Corcoran, decent ball, might drop here to Madrigal, and they'll win the free kick as well, Tigres. We still feel Gignac's presence around this club. He's on lots of the marketing materials, his image emblazoned across this stadium. Helped turn Tigres from a strong Mexican side to one of the most internationally recognised football brands from these parts. Years ago, you wouldn't expect to see so many international players in Mexican football, certainly not from around the world like we do now. European flavour to both sides. For Tigres, the bench is rounded off. The two goalkeepers, Antonio Carrera and Felipe Rodriguez. Juan Parata, Marco Farfan, Rafael Guerrero and Vladimir Lolonia are the defenders. Theo Sanchez joins Gignac and Lainez on the bench. Here's Brunetta. Correa got in the way there. Now Nashville, Baker Whiting tries to slip it forward towards Madrigal, and it's good. Sweeper keeper play from Guzman, who comes to the edge of his box, collects it and then bowls it out into midfield. Needed a shout there, Angel Correa. I think it was Angulo running onto it down that right hand side. Well, they've certainly set their stall out here, Nashville, and found a foothold in the game. Clear-cut chances, hard to come by. Neither goalkeeper really called into action yet. Schwarke will be pleased with that after a busy night in Tennessee. That's Nahar with the overlapping run from right back, keeps it in play. He's done really well, but then he shanks his left-footed cross. Picture started to come up a little, quite noticeably. Here's Corcoran, headed back by Mukhtar. Here's Espinoza into a cost to the replacement. Nahar, Espinoza. Nahar tries the early ball into the penalty area. Guzman literally strolls out towards the penalty spot, watches it bounce into his hands, say Carl Mylan amongst the chaos. Well, without Sam Surridge, you can see they struggle really to create opportunities. 9 goals from the Englishman. Not included amongst the substitutes tonight. Joe Willis and Javier Valdez are the two replacement goalkeepers. There's Daniel Lovitz, Jack Mayer, Jordan Knight, Josh Bauer, Thomas Williams, the defenders. Brian Acosta, as we already mentioned, was a late inclusion in the starting 11 after Patrick Yazbek went down in the warm-up. Charles-Emile Brunet joins Ahmed Kassem, the Swede, Shaq Mohammed, the Ghanaian, and Vojbens Passius. Who is 24 years old, the Haitian. He was debut for his national side back in October. And he spent most of last year at Tampa Bay Rowdies. There's 2 goals for Nashville since returning. Tigres tried to create the counter. Vology does really well and finds Palacios alongside him. 3 yellow shirts around him did Palacios. That one slung out to the left-hand side for Reed Baker-Whiting. Mukhtar in the middle of the park lays it off, and then a little bark at the players around him to maybe move a little bit more, provide the Nashville midfield with a few more options. Aguirre for Brunetta out on the left-hand side. It's back in field towards Araujo. Romulo. Garza. Araujo in midfield. It's a neat ball between the lines by Reyes. Tries to turn away, but Nashville sticking to their task pretty well in midfield defensively. There's Reyes again. Finds Flores, the Canadian. Swings it out towards the right-hand side where it's cushioned by Garza. Backwards towards Romulo. Now down the right-hand side for the danger man Correa. Tried the reverse ball inside. It was intended for Garza. It's Baker-Whiting it was to cut it out of play. Flag up for offside on the far side. Tigres fans wanted Diego Sanchez to start that left wing position, which was taken up by Flores. He was superb against Chivas 3 days ago. 3-1 up in the end of that first leg. Tigres. Costa from a long way out, deflection, and it carries it onto the roof of the net. Acosta took it on from all of 40 yards out, and it almost worked out. It takes a massive nick off the thigh. Well, I think it's Romulo on the edge of the penalty area. It was the Brazilian Romulo. Just skimmed off his thigh and almost dropped into the net. Well, that's encouragement for Nashville. Espinosa with the corner from the near side. The outswinger deep towards the back post, and Vology rose. It flicks away out towards the left flank. I think he's taken that off of Baker-Whiting, who was whiting one up. So Costa on halfway. Those kind of positions where Nashville really do miss Sam Surridge. He's a massive presence. Sharkey on the way to Guzman. It's cagey as we approach the half-an-hour mark in Monterrey, and I think both teams are pretty happy with that. Nashville are just trying to establish themselves here, set their stall out, frustrate Tigres, maybe force them to commit a few more bodies forward as Tigres try and take control of the game. Maybe that's where the openings will start to present themselves to the likes of Madrigal and Mukhtar. And Tigres will be just as happy that it's goalless. If it stays like this, of course, at the end of the match this evening, they will be the side moving through to the Champions Cup final. He's Guzman. He's one of those goalkeepers who becomes a part footballer, part entertainer, part antagonist, depending on the night. Been at this club now for more than a decade, and he loves hostile, emotional games. He'll slow it down when he needs to, argue with referees. He'll be a conductor to the crowd as well. Often celebrate routine saves with gusto. Make no mistake, he's a very good goalkeeper. Superb distribution. He's got a deep wealth of experience to draw on in this kind of football, and Tigres, well, they trust him completely in the pressure moments. Interested to see if he is beaten this evening, how Guzman and Tigres manage the emotional weight of that sort of moment in the game, as Vology has to turn back. Strake tried to just lift it out to Mukhtar on the near side. Too much on the pass, and throwing for Tigres down their left-hand side. Moving on, Gaza. Back by Correa. Here's Angulo. A little ball between the lines for Flores. He's trying to shake off Corcoran. Flores with the cross, away by Palacios. It'll be Tigres though, as that bounces away from Espinosa. Pretty calm in his technical area already, BJ Callahan. That just changes as I say that. It was Espinosa on the receiving end of a verbal volley from the touchline. Baker Whiting shielding that out against Angel Correa. A goal kick, the official's decision. Big chances for either side. A single shot on target in the opening 32 minutes. And Volcan. Straight to the middle. Now Madrigal has to turn in the penalty area. Madrigal shouts for a penalty, but he'll be penalised. The ball just wouldn't settle, and Madrigal tried to spin and lash one towards goal. He's only really made contact with Angulo. Let's have a little look what happened there, because Madrigal takes it down off the chest on the edge of the penalty area. He wouldn't really sit for him. He was trying to protect himself, the arm outstretched. He got a little piss of Romulo, and it's a brilliant challenge from Angulo, who wins the ball, and he took the full force of Madrigal's effort there. He'll plead his case with the referee, but he's the first man booked tonight. For a moment, he thought that he might have been fouled himself. No one on Madrigal. I mean, seeing the replay, it's probably the right decision from the referee, you know. And it's Angolo, brilliant defensive work. He's hurt himself in getting in front of Madrigal there. It's given his side at least an opportunity to take on some fluids in a hot and humid night here. Going to have to go off, albeit temporarily, Angolo. Rafael Guzman has spotted this up on the edge of the 18-yard box, and we'll resume play, a free kick as we head into the final 10 minutes of this first half in Monterrey. Here's Correa. To the goalkeeper Guzman. Angolo's back on. Goes to Reyes. Tries to ping it aerially towards Aguirre. Here's Corcoran. Comes away with it for Nashville. Looks up for Corcoran. Trying to see from Vology. Not too many options as he stepped into the middle of the park. Struggled by Schwarke. Corcoran. Madrigal allowed to turn. Into the penalty area, Madrigal, and draws the foul. This time he was fouled by Angolo, and that's a set piece just outside the penalty area. And it leads to the first Tigres booking of the night. Angulo is showed the yellow. Left the leg dangling, and it was just direct play from Madrigal. He's a different profile to Sam Surridge, much more of a centre forward Surridge. Madrigal, you probably class more as a number 10, likes to pick the ball up in pockets of space in front of the back four and drive at them, run at them from deep positions, and had the opportunity to do that, and you can see what he can produce. The discussions now between Mukhtar and Espinosa about who's going to take this from slightly right of centre and all of 6 yards outside the penalty area. Rafael Guzman is trying to erect a protective wall. It's likely to be Mukhtar. The 31-year-old German. 14 touches so far. They come from Salzburg, all of 11 years ago now. After a spell at Brøndby. Chasing his 100th goal for Nashville too tonight. Would see him bring up the three-figure mark. Here is Mukhtar. Four in the wall, one lying down on the deck. Hani Mukhtar. It's over the crossbar. It's a pretty poor attempt by a man of his standards as well. Three goals in the MLS so far this season. 7 starts. Last one came against Charlotte FC. Had a good night, a goal and an assist. It was his goal that separated the two sides at the stadium formerly known as the Azteca in that famous win for Nashville away at Club America. It was not a tight quarter-final. Just one goal in the 2 legs. Pizarro has been shown a yellow card there by the referee. The Tigres manager joins Angulo in the book. Vigo trying to juggle in the penalty area, and he couldn't just put it back for the byline. That's a tough one for him. Good Pizarro. Confirmation that booking just coming through to us now. One of the slightly unusual things about Tigres at the moment is that he was still playing not that long ago. He's such a central figure in the modern history of this club. The supporters already viewed him almost as an extension of the coaching staff while he was captain. He won league titles here as a player, played in Libertadores finals, Club World Cups, Champions Cup finals. He's lived virtually every major occasion this club has had in the modern era. And it really matters in games like this tonight, doesn't it? He can pass on that experience, he can share that with some of the younger players. He understands exactly what Tigres supporters expect emotionally from these kind of games too. And his side tend to play pretty intense and pretty clear tactically in terms of identity, their football. That's good work from Palacios, bursting forward. Mukhtar with a layoff to Reed Baker-Whiting. Wheel. Blocked initially, will take it down, tries to pull back, and Espinosa just slightly caught on his heels. Flat-footed on the edge of the box, and giving a decent chance at Nashville. I haven't really said much about Alex Buil so far this evening. That was very good, though. It bounces away from Mukhtar and ends up in the arms of Guzman. Swung out towards the far side by Angulo. Rita found Correa. Great initial turn, but then it was dispossessed. Mukhtar, bouncing ball. There was a high boot that the Tigres claim a free kick near halfway. The referee has a different view of it. As Vigonu went to ground, holding his head. Good work from Wallagy on the edge of the penalty area to snuff things out for Nashville, though. Palacios. Top down the left-hand side, Madrigal had pulled wide. Whipped away by Garza. Aguirre trying to track it down on that far flank. There was a high boot in the end from Mukhtar. Did catch Araujo there in midfield. Here's Mukhtar. Palacios. Mukhtar to Palacios. Mavology. Mukhtar on the half turn. Muil Clever ball. That's down the outside. The cut back towards the middle of the 6-yard box. Nahuel Guzman did really well. Had to be brave. It's just a corner. It was Nahar on the right-hand side, tight for offside. I think he's taken out by his own player there, the goalkeeper, you know. As Romulo comes clattering into him with Moil towards that back post as well. It's going to take his time to get back to his feet here, Nahuel Guzman. Well, before Guzman went down, we understood there was going to be 4 minutes of time added on at the end of this first half. It was Gaza, in fact, that took him out. He was down for a bit early in the game as well, actually. The Tigres goalkeeper, he was feeling that left leg, and it's the same one he's feeling now. After that coming together. Signed a contract for next year. At the age of 40, Nahuel Guzman. It'll be 5 minutes now. As we move into added time at the end of this first half. For the moment, Espinosa has the ball tucked under his arm. They are still waiting this corner. I think that's a clear target now for Espinosa, surely, as he's back on his feet, the goalkeeper. Espinosa's ball driven in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It's loose and it's wide, and it's another corner. With Palacios closest to it in the end. Now some tempers bubbling over. Espinosa with another chance here. Again in towards the 6-yard line, this time away by Aguirre. For a Nashville throw-in. It'll be Espinosa to take. Into Nahar. Vology has to be careful. Bit of pressure applied by Correa, but he's done really well there, Vology. Nahar. Palacios has stayed forward. Well, Guzman moving well enough to chip a little ball out to the right-hand side. Gaza. And Romulo plays it against Moil for a Tigres throw-in. Are not in any hurry here. Araujo forward and loses it. Mukhtar couldn't keep it. Now Flores has a lot of space on the left-hand side, approaching the edge of the Nashville box. Flores across the face of the penalty area. Just a heavy touch, one touch too many. But Nashville have lost it. Mukhtar again unable to keep it. Corner of the penalty area. Brunetta towards the back post. There is Correa. And Baker Whiting just made sure Angel Correa couldn't get on the end of that. And that'll Swing out of play for a goal kick. There's some tired legs out there. They'll go long for the goal kick this time, Nashville. Svarke towards Majdagal. He's been playing a bit more of a wider role in the last 10 minutes or so. Baker Whiting will take the throwing out on that left flank. Just down the line. Blasted away. Palacios took a risk in the centre circle but won the header. Now in a wrestling match with Brunetta, and he's fouled him. Being asked to walk away from the incident. I think he was just trying to help Brunetta back to his feet, but Reyes it was who didn't take too kindly to those efforts. Jean Palacios, the Colombian defender. On paper he's the centre-back tonight, but over the past 5 or so minutes he's played all over the pitch. This could be the last action of the first half. Going to be a set piece for Tigres. Brunetta angled towards the far side of the box, flicked up in the air. Majdagal with the header. Cushion down. Aguilera tries to get the ball to settle. Flores with a topo, and that one's gobbled up by Schwaki. We've played the 5 minutes of added time. Now on borrowed time. Mahar. Out of space. Loses the ball, but he'll have the throw in. Checking the watch from Mario Escobar, the referee. Corcoran taken down by Muil. Madrigal, right hand side for Espinosa. Can he get his cross away? Decent ball, and Nahuel Guzman claims very well, and there is half time. Mario Escobar blows the whistle for the break. No change in the scoreline so far. Still Tigres with a very slight advantage with that goal back in Nashville last week. A cagey first half, a tactical first half. It's been a game of chess in the opening 45 minutes. Can only really open up in the second after these two sides have been working each other out. Suits Tigres at the moment. Nashville need to cause a few more problems to the Mexican team if they are to hope to progress to the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. Half-time though, here at El Volcán. And it's Tigres 0, Nashville 0. Welcome back to El Volcan in Monterrey, where Tigres will make a change at the start of this second half. Off goes the Canadian Marcelo Flores, and on in his place comes Diego Sanchez. Many Tigres fans wanted him to start tonight. Excuse me. He will play 45 minutes at the very least of this second half. Nashville chasing that goal that would draw them level with Tigres on aggregate. Remember that away goal in Tennessee is giving Tigres the slender advantage. After that first half as well, the game can only open up, really. There weren't too many opportunities. Just one save from either of the two goalkeepers. Schwarke with a pretty simple one to deny the outgoing Flores. It was his performance in the first half, really, Schwarke, that means that Nashville have a chance tonight to progress to the final. As Valegi wins the head at near halfway, they're back underway, as I should mention. Tigres first attack, Angel Correa, who scored a world-class effort. Had to be world-class, really, to beat Schwarke last week. Is Digon. Correa. Closed down by Costa. And Tigres haven't really shown any intent to add to their lead. A containing game. That'll suit them if they can keep it goalless. In terms of spectacle, it's been one that's been a little bit lacking in quality. Nashville do have it in them to find a moment of genius, or maybe even a lucky deflection. It almost happened for Espinosa from range in the first half, a deflection that carried it onto the roof of the net. Valegi with the challenge. A tug on Brian Acosta. Stepped in for actually Yazbek, who pulled up during the warm-up. They've made two changes now, Tigres. They've only got one more window to make. Probably three. Three more substitutes they can use, but they can only do them all at once now. So no change to the side that started the game for Nashville. Schwarke in goal. The back four of Baker, Whiting, Valegi, Palacios and Nayar. In midfield, Moyle, Corcoran, Acosta and Espinosa. Looks like Mukhtar is sitting just behind Majdagal. Here he is, Mukhtar. Well, that's a strong challenge by Angulo. Barged off the ball, but the flag is up for offside on Hani Mukhtar. Clearly missing Sam Surridge this evening. It's close from Mukhtar. He just dropped the shoulder. It was outside the area anyway from Angulo. For Tigres, Guzman in goal. Back four of Garza, Romulo, Reyes and Angulo. Araujo joined by Vigon in midfield. It's now Correa, Brunetta and Sanchez offering support to Aguirre. Important bit of defensive work from Angulo. Baker Whiting was bursting into the penalty area alone. It was Muyl who couldn't quite find him. 40 minutes remaining of this second half, plus added time if there is no goal. We won't go to extra time. If there is, we'll have half an hour and potentially penalties for a place in the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. Costa. Waleji. Palacios. Just outside his own penalty area. Nahar. Schwarke. Waleji. Palacios. Slightly heavy touch, but he's got Nahar there to get him out of jail. And that's a heavy touch, as he was given the ball back by Mukhtar, Corcoran, Brunetta, Correa, and then his touch lets him down. Sloppy start to the second half from both sides. Schwarke sweeps it forward. Drops to Muil. That's a good first touch, and he will be fouled just shy of halfway by Gaza. Portugal has it prodded away. Waleji. Palacios. Nahar. He's done well there. He ran into a bit of traffic. Espinosa keeps the ball moving. The foul is given against Nahar. Sanchez, who nipped in and then was tugged back by Nahar as he lost it. He can be so effective with the ball at his feet, Diego Sanchez. And Nahar's going to have to be careful out on that left-hand side. Zangulo. It's Nahuel Guzman who came out at the start of this second half. We thought he had a couple of issues in the first half. They're down briefly in the opening few moments, as was at the same time as Tigres lost Barialan with injury, and then after coming together with his own defender, it took a while to shake off the effects of that collision. Corcoran wins it back, lovely pass as well, finds Baker White it back inside to Corcoran, tries to toss one into the back post. It's not the best delivery though from Corcoran. Nervy energy. Both sides, you might say. Long by Guzman. Strong header from Waleji. Offside flag is up. Aguirre coming back from it. Advanced position. It's Palacios. Defended by Aguirre. More frustration from the man they call the Buffalo. Free kick taken quickly. Muil chests it down just outside the penalty area, laid off to Baker Whiting. No space. To Waleji. Here's Espinosa. Had it taken away from him. Tigres with the advantage. Maybe a chance to counter-attack. Crossfield switch by Correa, chested away. Right, Nahar taken back by Reyes. Diego Sanchez. Space in the middle. Here's Gaza down the outside. Correa low across the face of goal. Waleji with a really important touch, and that's swept away by Muil. Matsligal with the layoff. Muil tried to return it to him. Nashville suddenly can't get out. Here's Angel Correa. Araujo. Garza towards Garza, linking up with Correa. Matched onto the return ball, but the foul had already been made by Garza. And Angel Correa just rattles the base of the post as the referee blows the whistle anyway. Ten minutes gone in a second half marked by a lack of quality and composure. Both teams struggling with their first touch. Tigres posing a little bit more of a threat, baring their teeth in this second period. It's the tough task for Nashville tonight. The psychology changes with the away goals, doesn't it? Because both benches constantly recalculating the situation. Here's Muil. Gets the low cross in there, took a deflection. Smashed away by Nahuel Guzman. Quickly taken by Baker Whiting. Possession handed straight back to Tigres, but that one had a play off of Garza. Baker Whiting towards the byline. It's a foul throw. Lesser spotted foul throw. It's coming towards the end of a long season. From a personal perspective, commentating, and I can count on one hand the number of foul throws that have been given by referees across this year. They've won a series of throw-ins here, Nashville, down the left-hand side. This time Baker Whiting keeps his feet firmly planted on the ground, but again, they're unable to keep it, the MLS team. Vology hooks it over his own head out of play, and here comes the first change of the evening for the visitors. And it's Wubens Passius, the Haitian international. I think at the World Cup with Haiti this summer, he'll replace Alex Muil. He's really struggled to make an impact. Scored a couple of goals like in the first round of the tournament against Atletico Ottawa in February, but hasn't really made the impact he was hoping for, as Schwarke hesitated for a moment and it was almost a chance for Tigres there. Corcoran tidying up. Good touch from Passius. Nahar. And down the outside for Mukhtar. The options starting to assemble in the penalty area. Mukhtar at the byline. That's against Cesar Araujo. It's probably the best chance of the game at the other end, though. Schwarke hesitated for a moment. It almost cost him, but managed to recover the situation and spread himself. Nahar launched towards the corner of the 6-yard box. Chested down by Sanchez. The bounce was misjudged, and now they'll try and release Aguirre. It's Vology who gets it back to Schwarke. That's a lovely ball. And the chest down as well by Espinoza. Finds Nahal, tries to get back to his feet. Sliding in just on the edge of the centre circle. Referee just watches on, right on top of the incident. Now here come Tigres again, down the left-hand side, game starting to open up as we reach the hour mark. Left foot across towards the back post, and good defending by Reed. Baker Whiting to tuck it behind for a corner when Aguirre was well positioned to apply the finishing touch. Baker Whiting just feeling for the Uruguayan. He remained out of reach. Schwarke just dropped to his line as Baker Whiting got his head on it. Still a problem for Andy Nahar in the centre circle. He threw himself into the challenge. It was a 50-50 ball, and the referee saw it that way as well. No decision given either way, no advantage, no free kick. Certainly a problem for Andy Nahar. Should be a big blow for Nashville if he's unable to continue, Andy Nahar. Let's have a little look. Three challenges in quick succession. The one he felt most was with Brunetta. Knee on knee as both men try to regain control of that ball in the centre circle. Nahar comes to the sidelines. BJ Callahan just has a word with him. Looks like he'll be able to continue, but not quite yet. As Brunetta, the outswinging ball up in the air by Vology. Little shove by Angel Correa. A fair one though, according to the referee, and Espinosa tries to take it away. Correa throws himself to the ground. The referee waves himself back to his feet. It was a very dramatic tumble from the former Atletico Madrid man. VAR will check it. There's nothing in that really. Angel Correa tries to make the most of the limited contact between the two. There's going to be a change here for Tigres. Diego Lainez is going to replace Aguirre. Off goes the target man style centre forward, and on comes a more nippy and exciting direct running winger. Ball pass from Baker Whiting. Guzman up towards halfway. Correa, maybe a chance for Tigres to finish it off here. Lainez just on. Lainez with a cutback, and it's a good work in the end from Palacios to readjust his body and turn it behind for a corner kick. Tried to square pass across the 6-yard box with the new man Lainez. Here comes the corner. Brunetta towards the near post, and that's wide. It was Reyes who arrived. Couldn't get his header on target. Always a difficult one, those tight angles at the near post. The Tigres supporters have just kicked up a notch. All over the top of Madrigal. He's going to get on the end of it, I think. He will. Shields it well in the penalty area. Now the flag has gone up. Well, it's been that kind of game for both teams, you know. Just went a bit too soon there, Madrigal. The young Costa Rican, high hopes for him. Thankless task tonight, running the channels. Filling in the size 12 of Sam Surridge. Flicked on by Vigon to Lainez. Vigon, cross is low. And Vology it is who marshals it. Mukhtar tried to turn around the corner. And that's a free kick just outside the centre circle. Acosta. Palacios. Acosta. Corcoran. Nahar. Sort of shrugged off the ill effects of that challenge a few moments ago. Palacios. Throw-in goes backwards to Schwarke. Now Vology. Pokes it wide. Corcoran. Nahar. That's on that right-hand side is Acosta. That's a poor pass. I think they've almost given it away to Correa. Schwarke had to come a long way out. He slices his clearance out of play for a throw-in to Tigres, who have taken it quickly. It's Correa for the restart with the layoff on the edge of the penalty area. Sanchez! And it's Brunetta with the finishing touch. Arrows it into the top corner. And that could well be the goal that sends Tigres through to the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. Just caught on their heels there. Palacios lost his footing. There was panic stations defensively for Nashville. Correa with a hand in it. Brunetta with a brilliant finish. Opened up ever so kindly for them. Acosta lost his footing just at the wrong moment. It's Tigres 1, Nashville 0, and Tigres move 2 goals ahead on aggregate. $42,000 Tigres fans go absolutely mad. And that's the signal for the latest change. Brian Acosta, the defensive solidity in midfield, is going to be sacrificed for Shakil Mohammed. Well, a mountain to climb now. Have to score twice in the last 20 minutes to force extra time. To imagine with 2 away goals. Actually, it's off from the edge of the penalty area. Guzman was off his line. Just to clear things up, if Nashville are to find 2 goals in the last, we're approaching the last 20 minutes, they would qualify for the final at the expense of Tigres on away goals. Comes a delivery from Espinosa. Plenty in the area, but it's an overhit cross. Nahar, Corcoran, had to be careful. Gets it back to Schwake. Nahar looking to hold up Sanchez, gets to the byline, clips across the top of the roof of the net, almost rolled along the crossbar. His attempted cutback. Corcoran. Baker Whiting. The layoff is from Passius. There's Mohamed. To Palacios. Mukhtar. Shaq Mohamed can play pretty much anywhere across the front line for Nashville. He's been thrown on as an attacking reinforcement. Looks to be just be playing off Passius. Here's Mukhtar. Can't thread it through. Baker Whiting, edge of their penalty area. Was he clipped there? He was. By Garza. Foul and a yellow card. Oh, fantastic atmosphere here. A lot of stadiums get described as intimidating. This one genuinely has a different physical feel, and it's in its most vociferous and party atmosphere. Espinosa tried the long-range free kick straight off the wall, and they're now all the way back to Schwake. The architecture of this place really matters. Stands are incredibly steep. There's very little distance between the supporters and the pitch, and once the noise starts bouncing like that away at ends to our left, where most of the most passionate Tigres supporters are housed, it's very difficult for it to settle. Palacios. Nahar. Corcoran in midfield to Nahar. Another one slung into the penalty area. And Nachal Guzman got there ahead of Espinosa. Almost tossed it away there, Guzman. Turns out to be pretty good distribution from the goalkeeper. Ahmed Kassem's also come on for Nashville 5 minutes ago alongside Shaq Mohamed. Maybe another opportunity for Tigres. They'll pull it back for the foul just outside the penalty area. Correa let it run. It was Sanchez who went to ground. It's Palacios who just kicked out at Sanchez there, actually. It was right under the nose of the referee. He knew exactly what he was doing there, that Colombian. 15 minutes remaining. A goal here really would end Nashville hopes, you'd say. The thing going against them is there haven't been too many stoppages in this second half. Plenty of changes, yes, so we'll have the requisite amount of time added on when the 90 does come up. But if they are to salvage this game, Nashville, it needs to start soon, the comeback. It's the Argentina World Cup winner, Angel Correa, who has spotted the ball up with purpose. Schwarke trying to place his wall perfectly. Will be Correa. Deflection. That spins behind for another corner for Tigres. Well, for years, these games between MLS and Liga MX sides had a fairly predictable pattern. MLS sides have started to change that story in recent years, but tonight it looks like another chapter added to that list of Mexican sides who have brushed past their MLS counterparts. So there seems to be a problem here for Baker Whiting, who returned to earth rather awkwardly there. He's just holding on to his left wrist. He might have hurt his shoulder or his wrist or his hand here, but Reed Baker Whiting is trying to recompose himself. He's made it clear he doesn't need medical attention now. It's been a shock, I think, initially. Another change for Nashville. Andy Nahar goes off. And on comes Danny Lovitz, the veteran. Good start against Inter Miami in the round of 16. Lainez, Garza, flicked away by Corcoran. Struck from range. Reyes rakes one over the bar. And that's long from Schwarke. Mohamed looking for Passius, might drop to Mukhtar. What can he conjure up here? Well, a poor touch is the answer to that question. Not a bad ball turned in behind by Correa. Lainez is going to get there. Now inside to Correa. Finds Reyes. Sanchez. Baker Whiting has just shifted out to that right-hand side. Brunetta for Correa. Tried to return it to the goal scorer, Brunetta. Garza. Lainez. Angulo. To Guzman. It's easy for Palacios. He starts to stroll forward, the big defender. Looks for Mukhtar. And all dropped to Mohamed. Here's Kasim. Palacios. Corcoran. Mohamed. Left footed ball whipped in. I can't find anyone in the box, and now Correa will carry it forward for Tigres. Lainez. Where's he gone? Correa. Inside right, just outside the Nashville penalty area. Garza, Correa. Heavy first touch, show too much of it to Corcoran. And it'll be a goal kick for Nashville. 9 minutes of the 90 remaining. Final change here for Nashville. Tigres, I should say. And it's going to be Juan Bruneta, the scorer of the goal this evening, who's going to be replaced, I believe, by Rafael Guerrero. He was unlucky not to score in Nashville last week, Bruneta. Looks like his goal will be the strike that sends Tigres through to the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. It's definitely a defensive change. Guerrero often plays centre-back, and they've immediately shaped up in the back five here, Tigres. Palacios back to Schwake. Waleji. Mohamed's layoff. That one's down the left-hand side. It's sliced. Angulo. Bounces into Guzman. Volleyed clearance. Finds Lainez. Nice first touch. Now into Araujo in the centre circle. Reyes. Nice link-up play down the left-hand side. Sanchez finds Vigon. Can't get past Baker Whiting. It's cushioned down the touchline and then run out of play by Ahmed Kassem. Guzman. Araujo. They just can't get a foot on the ball here, Nashville, at the moment they need it the most. It's a bit better. And now Espinoza, left-hand side, deep towards the back post. Passius was arriving late, no one really there for Nashville. They've got the throw-in though. It's going to be Baker Whiting to take the throw-in. He will try and launch this into the penalty area. Passius with the flick on the edge of the penalty area. Correa will juggle it free for Tigres, and now another chance for a counter-attack for the Mexican team to really finish off Nashville. And that's blocked out by Waleji, prevents Correa from providing the pullback. Will be a goal kick, a corner kick I should say. You wonder whether Tigres will even try and play this into the penalty area with just 5 minutes now left of the 90. Well, no one has gone out there to join Angel Correa. Correa might have been going for goal. And El Correa, it's onto the top of the net. Schwarker had it covered anyway. Corcoran. Baker Whiting. Mukhtar. Lovitz moves it on. Espinoza. Madrigal. Novology. Lovitz. That's a slice delivery. She'll bounce straight through to Nahuel Guzman. Nice shake of the head from some of the Nashville supporters who've made the journey. A trip to Monterrey is decent consolation, you would imagine. Even if their side looks set to depart the CONCACAF Champions Cup this evening. Gaza. There's the free kick backwards. Here is Guerrero. Guzman. Reyes. Touchline for Sanchez. Came off Palacios. Vigon will take the throw in. To Sanchez and couldn't control it. Corcoran. To Schwarke. It's some resigned looking body language from the Nashville players. Palacios. Baker Whiting. Edge of the centre circle now is Rolaggi. Lovitz. Mukhtar. Palacios crosses the halfway. Tigres winners back in 2020. That was at a neutral venue in Orlando. No fans in attendance either due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Fans were shown on video boards, so Tigres will be desperate for the chance to do it again, this time with their supporters actually in attendance in LA. Here's Baker Whiting. Tried to take on Sanchez and he's forced to push him in the end, and that'll be a free kick for Tigres. As we've reached the 90th minute, Tigres in no hurry, Nashville in no mood. It's long from the Tigres goalkeeper. Palacios with the header up to halfway. Nashville have the throw in again. Baker Whiting. Into Palacios. There's Volegi. Mukhtar. Back to Volegi. Lovitz. Lovitz down the left-hand side. Mohamed trying to apply a bit of a pressure to Guerrero. They've given it away here, Tigres. Mukhtar as we move into just 3 minutes of additional time. Almost there now, Tigres. And I'll just try and keep it. For the last few days, last few minutes. It's bad giveaway by Garza. Espinosa. Mohamed outnumbered. Now Lainez carries it free for Tigres. Stepping in Palacios in midfield. Now Mukhtar right of centre. Forced wide. Ahmed. Palacios with his back to goal, couldn't hold it up. Mohamed loses it. Here goes Sanchez through the middle. Vigon. A free kick for Tigres inside Nashville territory, and that surely will be that now. Maybe one final flourish. Lainez, it's into the side netting. Slung forward again by Nashville. More in hope than expectation. All eyes on Mario Escobar now. Quickly in by Lovitz. He's had a look at his watch, the referee. Vology. Mohamed tries to shield the ball. Goes to the corner. Will be a corner for Nashville, and the referee's going to allow them to take it, I believe. Espinosa towards the back post. Full time at Estadio Universitario, and Tigres are through to the CONCACAF Champions Cup final. It's a 1-0 win on the night and a 2-0 win on aggregate over Nashville. Angel Correa's strike separated the sides in Tennessee last week. Tonight it was Juan Brunetta who produced the decisive moment. A goal midway through the second half to finally break Nashville resistance here at El Volcan. For Nashville, there will be disappointment. They try to remain competitive, but without Sam Surridge, they really miss some of their most potent attacking outlets. Mukhtar, a peripheral figure at times. Espinosa tried to provide the spark going forward, but ultimately without their leading scorer they struggled to create enough clear-cut opportunities across the two games, and Tigres always at the more dangerous side in attacking areas. It sends Tigres into another CONCACAF Champions Cup final, continuing the club's strong recent history in this competition after lifting it back in 2020. Nashville's run comes to an end in Monterrey, but the MLS side can still reflect on an impressive campaign that included a landmark win away over Club America earlier in the tournament. Final score tonight at El Volcan. Tigres 1, Nashville 0. Tigres advance 2-0 on aggregate. From me, Charlie, thank you for your company tonight. Goodbye. I'll see you again soon.